Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with a review of the Wild Force Red Lion from Power Rangers Super Megaforce. I know the Red Lion's not from Super Megaforce, and why is there samurai symbols on there? You'll find out some of these answers and more in this review. I don't know why I did one of my descriptions for the opening, but anyway, I have him standing on top of the box. I just wanted to take a very quick look at the box, as I usually do with a lot of reviews, and then we'll get it out of here. Unlike other Zords of this size, it didn't get a really cool box art box, but I wanted to point out it's kind of neat. It's actually got like a rock background to sort of give it a setting, which is really neat. And then on the front, pretty basic stuff. This is Wild Force Red Lion, Super Megaforce Red there. Just kind of advertises stuff on the side for the keys, and on the back just kind of shows how it works. So still a pretty neat box. I do kind of miss the really cool style packaging like the Grounds Lion Zord got and stuff, but still some neat stuff. So here we've got the Lion, and if you couldn't tell by the box, because I talked so damn fast right now, it does come with the Ranger key. You get the Wild Force Red Ranger key right here. It's pretty much the same as the Ranger key you got in the previous set. For whatever reason, I completely misplaced mine, so I don't know where it is, but it's really not that big of a difference. Here is the difference right here next to the Japanese version. But yeah, I don't know why, I don't know where the hell it went, but I couldn't find my Red Wild Force from the Ranger key set, but there's not really that huge of a difference between these. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and show the sounds, like I've been doing in all my Zord reviews, because I don't want to forget to do it by the end. So... Wild Force, and of course, communicator beeps. So pretty much exactly what you expected. And this one, because it is a bit more of an expensive Zord and whatnot, it does not come with a really crappy Ranger figure, which I'm completely fine with. So here we have the Wild Force Lion, which I think looks pretty good. Excuse the missile sticking out of his mouth. In fact, you know what? Since he's there, let's go ahead and show. The main function of the missile is the fact he's got a key slot up here, if you can see it. Just place the key in there, and it'll fire the missile. So pretty similar to the Delta Runner and the Zeo Racer, but just on a Lion scale. And there's no turning or anything, it's just all press. And you can do the same thing with the Megazord mode. So yeah, that's neat, I guess. Like I said in my previous reviews, I like the fact that they are trying to include the Ranger keys more. I wish it kind of had a turning gimmick, like, you know, put a key in and actually turn it. But yeah, so I just want to get that out of the way. So here he is. Honestly, he looks pretty solid. You can tell he does have the samurai symbols around here. That is because, if you did not know, Red Lion acts as a dual tribute. You can see the Fire Smash right there too. A dual tribute for Wild Force and Samurai in terms of Megazord usage. So that's why he has that. It is kind of annoying. I'll briefly show Gal Lion in a minute, but he does not have those visible. So I can see why that's a little bit of annoying. I'm not too mad about it because I like to have different things in my American versions to make me like having different versions of the toy. But I can definitely see why that's annoying because it's a bit show inaccurate and it's just kind of in your face about it. In particular because this isn't such a random Zord they get that the tribute is actually the Wild Force Lion. I'm assuming they're going that route too for us. I don't know. I'm just babbling now. So anyway, overall I'm just spinning him around because I think he looks pretty solid. All the plastic and paint on him looks pretty decent. I really don't have any problems with him. The only thing he really does is roll and shoot missiles. But he looks pretty solid and I really enjoy him for the most part. Just because it's kind of obligatory, since I do have it, I might as well show it. Here it is next to Gao Lion, its Japanese counterpart. As you can see, there are some better paint differences here. You don't see these symbols there. I'll try to show it in Megazord mode if I do it, but these are actually flaps that function with gokai-oh's flap opening gimmick that also fold open. Same deal with the legs. And the fire symbol is actually in his mouth as opposed to down here on his chest. And as you can see, he does generally look better. This guy does not do this, which isn't that huge of a deal. This guy has dust right here from being on my shelf, so that's embarrassing. But yeah, he generally does look better, but I think the Wild Force Lion gets the job done just fine. One other thing of note here, if I can remember where the damn switch is. Oh yeah, it's underneath here. Pull out his head. This guy does have sounds. So he makes the calling noise I'm gonna kind of leave his head ajar, just. And you can check out my Wild Force Lion review. I'll put a Gal Lion review. I'll put a link in the description to my full review of that from years ago. But yeah, so that is the differences, sound, and he's obviously superior. But if you're going for the American versions, I think this guy does the job just fine. So he can do a few different things. First off is something that's not really in the show or anything, but he does have a battle mode. So to do that, I'm going to take this piece off here, and then take this piece off the back here, and the tip of the Fire Smasher. I didn't really highlight it, but in the Japanese version, it's actually quite different. The Fire Smasher doesn't stick out like that. It actually folds back into it, so you can't really tell. They do a pretty good job of hiding it, which is neat. I have such problems with those legs popping off. It's freaking redonkulous. So now you're going to take this piece here, and it's actually going to go in his mouth. There's a little peg in there you'll be able to see. Take this piece here, and there's a peg here, and you can actually see this looks like a solid piece, but it actually pushes in. So that you can place this sort of like helmet on him. So that's pretty neat, I have to say. And then here there's also a peg which you're going to place on top of him. Or was it this way? Nope, I had it right the first time. Just wanted to check, because it's a bit difficult to get in. And there you have its battle mode, which honestly looks really cool. It's something that, unless I'm completely gapping, was never in the show. But it looks really neat, and I might even display mine like that, because I think it looks pretty badass, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, so now we will show, if I can get the legs to not be stupid, the first mode with the Megazord, which is the Wild Force mode, which essentially just features Wild Force, the Legendary Megazord, or now the Legless Megazord, or Leg Megazord, riding on top of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this stuff aside, because it's not really necessary that much to show this transformation. So yeah, you can see on top of here there's two pegs. You can pretty much see where this is going. I've already taken the liberty of taking off his legs. So then you're just going to place them on top here. And they can be a bit difficult to get in, actually, and frequently cause the back legs to pop off like they just did. But luckily they're in enough secure space. And then usually you'd put like the sword in them. That's what she said. But I'll show like the sword combos later. But that's pretty much this mode. It's nothing spectacular. It's just him riding on top of it, sort of like the Pegasus Megazord. And if you put swords in him or put like the combo weapon with this, it will look a lot cooler. But it's still not one of my favorite modes. There's nothing special about it. This is where you're starting to get into the fact that I hate formations like this when the legs kill out, or when you're starting to actually take away from the main Megazord, so it's not really the Megazord anymore, because you don't have his legs anymore, and even for the Samurai combo, we're not actually going to have his legs anymore. So he's not even Legendary Megazord anymore, he's just the Leg Megazord. He's losing letters. It's just like Kanzen gokai-oh. That's Kanzen Gok. He hardly has any gokai-oh left. So yeah, anyway, not the best mode, but yeah, you can do that. And it is kind of neat. It sort of calls back a little bit to the Pegasus Megazord. So, for the Samurai formation, we're going to take this guy off and then essentially disassemble this lion. You're going to take his headpiece off here. Kind of, well, I guess this would be easier to do it like this, since that's not how it works on this one, and I was just thinking of that's what happens when you handle them so close next to each other. So take the legs off, and those are, spoiler alert, going to become the legs. Now the headpiece can come off from here, if I can get it, there we go. And then if you couldn't tell, this is going to become a sword. And then these leg pieces will also come off right here. Damn, everything's so tight. That's also what she said. And then pull that off, and then just since I'm holding this, place this back on, and you're going to get a Fire Smasher, which can be one of his weapons. So, take his legs, you know, the Wild Force Lion's legs, and put him on the Legendary Megazord, if you can get him on there and you're not a complete idiot like me. And they're essentially going to become his new legs. Sorry about the strange sort of camera angle at this moment. I will be able to fix that in a second, once I get his legs on. There we go. So now he's standing on his own two lion legs. So he's got that going for him. So now for these pieces, there's little holes here. You're going to attach the Zord Builder pegs onto the side of his arms. So, do that up. Same deal here. You're going to want to fold this piece back. You can get it on there without it, but it's not quite as stable. So you got that. Those are the arm pieces. They're a little crooked. They're even. You'll thank me later. What do we want to do next? Let's go ahead and do the lion piece, I guess. So place that in there, and then you're going to want to plug the lion in here. Make sure it snaps. There we go. So you got the lion like that. And then take this piece here, which is sort of holding his legs back on, and place his helmet piece like that. You know, that's not going to work. Take his hat off first, and he gets a new hat. And there, I'm going to put this in here while I put the other one together. But you pretty much have the Legendary Megazord with Samurai Power, which honestly is a pretty cool looking combination. With the lion head in the middle, got all the symbols everywhere, it looks pretty neat. There are some show inaccuracies to it, which I'll go over in a second. What I'm also doing here is this other weapon, is you can take this piece and combine it with the sabers, and all that requires is sliding the handles of them into here. So you can get this cool weapon here that you can switch out, because he's got the Fire Smasher right now. You can switch out to this one, which you could use in either mode. The Wild Force mode, where he's riding it, certainly looks a lot cooler when you have this in it. So yeah, you get the idea, just to show it. But I'm actually going to take it away now, just because I'm going to be doing some comparisons in a moment. But like I said, he looks pretty cool, one of the cooler looking formations. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the fact that you're taking away parts of it, but it can't really work around it. I think in the designing room they could have worked around the fact that they did that in the first place. But nonetheless, it's still a cool formation. I'll try to show it here in a second, but in the Japanese version, the legs were hidden, and then when you activated the twist open up gimmick, they would fold down. And then here, the shoulders are pretty inaccurate, because here there were pieces where they would fold down and the legs did not stick out like this. I don't have a huge problem with it, because as I've said, I have a little bit of a skewed perspective. Because I already own the original versions, I kind of like the American ones to differentiate themselves a little bit, so I have something different. And I don't think this looks too bad, but I can definitely see that being a problem, because it is kind of annoying with the feet sticking off. And if you're not like me and you're collecting this as your main display or collection for Super Megaforce, I can see being annoyed by not having screen accurate thing and kind of having that in your face. So the only other thing I can really do in this mode before I show what the other one looks like. Here's the missile, Ranger key, and fire. So it's cool that they do include that functionality with it. So yeah, before we get to the final verdict here, I will show a quick comparison to the Japanese version. Just of note, before he materializes in here, I misplaced the helmet for Gao Lion, so he is going to be helmetless. Alright, so here's primarily the Japanese version. For whatever reason, I left that on there. I don't know, so Ranger can stand on it? I don't know. But it's kind of inaccurate because, like I said, I'm missing the helmet. I actually was rearranging a Megazord shelf, and it fell behind the shelf that's behind a bunch of dressers in my entertainment center. So it's really difficult to get to until the next time I clean behind there, which at the time was a few days before that, so it's going to be a while. And because I don't display it in that mode, I didn't find it important. So I apologize, but the helmets actually don't have that much major difference. Excuse me. The major difference I wanted to highlight was, look at the arms, how they're not supposed to be like that. These, after you attach this clip here, when you open up the gimmick, hatch down. The only reason I didn't show it is because it's kind of difficult to get behind there. And the legs down here, also, when they're closed, you can't see them. And then when you do the flap gimmick, hatch down. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But overall, I do like the Red Lion. I don't want all these comparisons to make people think that I don't like the American version, because I do. But I just thought I'd point out stuff that might upset some people. It was kind of better the way they hid this. I wish they somehow could have hid the symbols here in some way. But the Red Lion is still a solid Zord toy. I still really enjoy it. I think it looks good on its own. The battle mode looks awesome. Excuse me. It works well with the Zord. It looks pretty awesome like this still. It's still a solid toy, and if you're collecting the American Lion, the Legendary Megazord, I can absolutely recommend getting it. I really enjoy it still, but I just wanted to highlight some of those differences. So yeah, still a solid Zord toy, but I just thought you should be aware of those differences. And normally he doesn't have this sticking out and he's not bald, but I thought it'd be funnier if I took off his helmet and made him bald, just so you know. So anyway, that's about enough. Until next time, make sure to check out the crazy podcast at writersrangersrambles.com. Until next time, it's Dawson Ryder, signing out.